We'll start with the prayers. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, the title of the 18th chapter, clearly states the goal of all spiritual seekers is only one. And what is that? Moksha. Moksha means freedom from identification with our ego. This is one of the primary benefits of the study of the Bhagavad Gita. We learn what is the ego, what is my mind, and we also learn how to disidentify with this individuality in us. Throughout the 18 chapters, Lord Krishna has kept this as the primary goal. And he teaches Arjuna the art of living as a Jivan Mukta. We have almost come to the end of our Bhagavad Gita study. And we will try to complete this text either today or maybe maximum next week. My plan is to take a revision of the entire 18 chapters next week and then decide what should be our program. Let me go back to where we stopped last week. We were in the 63rd verse. And in the 62nd verse, what we saw was surrender the ego and attain the eternal abode. Tameva sharanam gacha sarva bhavena bharata. Surrendering all our thoughts to one Ishvara, who is also present in this body. That is what is meant here, surrendering our... Now this is the topic which he is going to continue further up to verse 66. This surrender of the ego is the greatest Purushartha. We have seen what are the 4 Purusharthas, and right in the beginning of our study, the surrender of these ego is the final Purushartha. We want to earn money, we want to have some enjoyments in the world. These are all, we want to follow dharma. These are all normal aspirations of all seekers, which we all go through. While going through these Purusharthas means effort, self-effort, which we put throughout our life while living, we understand the limitations of a human being. And it is the limitations of the human being, be it the limitation of the body, which is there for a few years, limitations of the human mind, which is always in a state of flux, limitations of the sense organs, which have the tendency to go externally all the time. So a human being understands these limitations and then asks the question, is there anything which is not bound by time? And then the seeking starts. And throughout the Gita, we have learned that we have to go inward into our own mind. And this verse tells us that the last thing which we do is this notion which is there in all of us. I am this body, I am this mind. That is what is to be surrendered. Surrendered means don't identify with it. Our mind will still produce thoughts. It will still run away into the world. Every time it goes, use the mind as an instrument to perform duty in the world. Whatever is the duty in which we are born with, that is our swadharma. This is ordained by the Lord because He has put us in this world. In this circumstance, He has put us. Whatever may be your circumstance, you may be young, you may be old, you may be living in any part of the world, you have your own surroundings. Each one of us has our own setup. In that setup, whatever we can do, we must do, and then have one goal in life. I must realize my own higher nature. Throughout our life, we may have studied the entire Gita. Perhaps we may not have gone into the depth of our own true nature. Again, we can study the Gita or go to some other texts which have the same goal. Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Upanishads. It is the cow which gives us the milk. That milk is the essence of the Upanishads, the teaching of moksha shastra. Now we'll go into the 63rd verse. Here, Atma Jnanam is the greatest secret, is the teaching. Iti te jnanamakyatam guhya guhyataram maya brahmashyaitat sheshena yatechasi tatha kuru. So the Lord says here, Lord Krishna says, I have given you the secret of all the secrets. Guhya guhyataram. The highest secret. And what is the highest secret? I am in this body with you. Lord Krishna is there in this body as the consciousness, as the awareness. This ego, I, is never alone. It is always with the consciousness principle. And to realize this Lord in this body, not with the form, it is a formless, invisible nature of the Lord. The 9th chapter was also termed as the same secret. Having reflected upon it fully, you now act or you don't act. You can choose. Now Lord Krishna says, free will exists for you. The same, you see, this teaching is also for us. Every day we are facing the world. We have the free will to do or not to do. If we have the right understanding of the Gita Shastra, the meaning of the whole essence of the Bhagavad Gita, in our own intellect, our whole vision about the world will change. The highest secret in the world is the secret of Atma. Atma means my own higher nature, which is pure consciousness. I am this consciousness first, and then I enter the body. Every day we wake up entering this body and again go back to our own higher nature, which is pure consciousness. Again, the next day comes, again, the mind wakes up, we see the world. Reflect on this experience of ours and ask the question, am I that awareness principle? You will surely come to realize, yes. It is a knowledge for me only. I cannot explain this to somebody else because this is my freedom. If I understand this knowledge of the Atma, the pure awareness, in which I am there all the time, but I was not aware that this is my nature. So I need to reflect on this. The Lord has given the secret, asamantat. Asamantat means completely. He has not hidden anything. So that we also can realize our nature. We reflect on the teaching of this verse up to the verse number 62. And then he says, you take the decision. So Arjuna was very, very confused, deluded right in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Many of us, we enter the Bhagavad Gita study with this same condition of Arjuna's mind. And slowly, as you learn the Bhagavad Gita, slowly there is a transformation happening in the mind. Very, very subtle transformation, which you will not realize because it is not a gross transformation. So we tie the pearls of teaching of the 18 chapters in one string. And that string is the song of the Bhagavad Gita. Yatechasi tata kuru, as you desire, as per your thoughts, you do. Right understanding, right vision of the world helps me to get rid of desires, wrong desires, and get rid of wrong actions. A teacher's job is to give the right understanding, a right vision. And at the same time, the teacher says, now you have the freedom to choose right or wrong. Whenever we want to choose something, if our mind is not deluded by our own likes and dislikes, you will make absolutely the right decision. Because you have the clarity, what's happening around you, and you will keep on making the right decision, and you will find that the life goes very smoothly. You will be able to absorb the shocks of the world, but take it as it comes. Sarvaguhyatamam bhuyah shrunu me paramam vachah ishtosi me thridamiti tato vakshami te hitam. Again, Lord Krishna gives one final touch to his teaching. Again, he comes back to Arjuna because you see, a teacher he wants the student to understand the pure nature of this awareness. The teaching started in the 11th verse of the 2nd chapter, and it finishes on the 62nd verse of the 18th chapter. Out of love, good teachers give highlights. You're dear to me. I'm once again telling you without you asking, out of love. Because perfection happens with knowledge. And when this knowledge comes together with desire and action, then it is fulfilling. There are two beautiful verses, 65 and 66. Again, Lord Krishna summarizes so that Arjuna makes the right decision. Manmana bhava mad bhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. And what is his final highlight of the teaching? Fix your mind upon me. Here me means consciousness, awareness. Be devoted to that consciousness, awareness, the nature of the Lord. He says, sacrifice your ego for me. Bow down to me. And what does he promise? He says, you will definitely come to me. Don't have any doubts. Arjuna, I promise you, because you are dear to me. So this is the parting final two verses for Arjuna. As a Shishya, Lord Krishna gives him these last two verses. It also tells us what is the real important message of the Bhagavad Gita. The message is control your mind. If you control your mind, you control your emotions. You control your emotions, you get rid of sorrow, and you can live happy. This gives confidence about the Bhagavad Gita's teaching. Manmana bhava. Manmana bhava means may your mind, mana. Manaha, let it be with me. Let it be about me, for me. Which means what? Let your mind keep on thinking not of the external world, but think of this presence of the awareness in this body. Our normal tendency is the mind and the sense organs together, they join and they go into the external world. When they go to the external world, it creates a lot of desires, and then we get caught up. We get deluded. This is called as adhyasa, superimposition. I am pure consciousness, awareness. That is my eternal nature. The moment I wake up in the morning, what happens? This body starts going into the world. If it is doing the duty, there is no problem. Suppose you are doing your duty, you go to the office, you work, you earn money, that is no problem. Here the problem is if you start worrying, that worry is samsara. Mad bhakta bhava. Let the heart be filled with love for this awareness, love for this consciousness. There is a beautiful principle in this body. It should be difficult to take Bhagavan out of this body. That should be your attitude. Madhyaji ma namaskuru. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are two verses which tells us how we can have Navavidha Bhakti. What is Navavidha Bhakti? Navavidha Bhakti means how to develop devotion to the Lord in 9 ways. And that is what is explained in this verse here, 23 and 24. Shravanam. Shravanam means listen about this higher consciousness or the Lord. Kirtanam. Kirtanam means sing the song of this Lord. Smaranam. Keep on thinking. Let these thoughts rumble in your minds about, keep on remembering the Lord again and again. That is number 3. Pada Sevanam. That means you serve the Lord by doing the puja at home. Archanam. You offer flowers, offer anything you have. Vandanam, talk about this Lord and his glory. Dasyam, Dasyam means to be a humble servant of the Lord and do whatever he wants us to do. Sakyam means you let that Lord be your friend. Atma Nivedanam, this is the last. These are the ways, 9 ways in which you can develop bhakti, explained beautifully in Bhagavatam. Atma Nivedanam means contemplation on Atma. Why contemplation on Atma? Because that Lord is there. He keeps on saying every time in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I am in you, I am in you, you are me. Mam eva ishyasi, you will reach me. Satyam te pratijani, you will certainly reach me. Not reach me, you will 100%. It's a promise of the Lord. What does he say? Again and again, think of this consciousness, awareness principle, and you will merge with this pure self. It is the mind which keeps on identifying, and the same mind has to identify with the consciousness. You're only changing the direction from external to internal. Priyosi me, you are dear to me. Every thought of yours is of me, about me, with me, through me, for me. Then what happens? I am in devotion and great bhakti throughout the day. After knowledge, if there is no bhakti, then knowledge means the knowledge has not done its, has not shined in you. The development of knowledge is you start understanding the glorious nature of the Lord. Look at this marvelous creation, which is the Lord. I wake up to the Lord every day and I go back to sleep in my nature. Again, I wake up to the Lord's creation. Whole creation, good and bad. Bhagavatam has got another verse here, which says, those who are established on this path are free from bondage. Tesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhakti vishishyate priyohi jnanino nyartham aham sacham apriyaha. This is the 7th chapter, the 17th verse. What does he say there? In the 7th chapter, the Lord talks about 4 bhaktas, 4 types of devotees. The first one is artho bhakta, the one who wants wealth. Artharthi, artho, the one who is in difficulty. Artharthi means the one who wants wealth. So artho bhakta means the one who is in difficulty. He is having a business problem, family problem, and he goes running to the Lord and says, Lord, now you take care of this problem. That is one type of bhakta. The Lord does take care of this. With proper prayers in a temple, you will get some relief. There are other people who are interested only in material pleasures. That is artharthi. Jignasu bhakti is a person who is interested to know the nature of the Lord. And the last one is a jnani bhakti. A person who has already known the nature of the Lord, but he still loves that Lord because he can feel the presence of the Lord all throughout the 24 hours. He knows that that Lord is in this body. Without this consciousness principle, the body and the mind and the world does not have any existence. That is the ultimate knowledge of the Upanishads. If you want to get convinced on this, you must study the Upanishads. So after knowledge, what happens? The bhakti for the Saguna Ishvara rises. It grows. And you know Swami Chinmayananda very well. You can see he's an example of how he brought this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita to the masses. Millions of people have got benefited from his talks, from his videos, from his work. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchah. One of the best verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Anybody talking about Bhagavad Gita, he will quote this verse, because this verse captures the essence of the 701 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. If I were to choose one verse of the 18th chapter, it will be this. What does it say? What is the goal of Bhagavad Gita? Moksha. And if moksha is the goal, what should you do? You have to take refuge in some principle in this world. And that is the Lord principle. That is the God, the one who controls the entire universe by his power. And what is the individual all about? The individual is all about the BMI, body, mind, and intellect, interacting with the world, getting some papas and punyas, sins and merits committed, and therefore it takes another birth, again it comes back. So what here he says is, surrender your ego, sarva dharman. Sarva dharman here means the ego, because ego represents all your actions. The moment you surrender the ego, what happens is our awareness becomes more prominent. Till the ego is there, you are never conscious of your pure nature. Right in the 3rd chapter itself, Lord said, do karma yoga. Offer all the actions to me. Again, there he was referring to the ego. Mam ekam sharanam vaja. I am the one who can give you the freedom from sorrow. And I am there in your own body. You have to do only one thing. Identify this ego first. What is this ego? Many of us don't even know this ego exists. Through the study of Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, you will come across this understanding of the I, which is the ahamkara. As long as we are attached to this ahamkara, the I notion, in this body and in the mind, you will be in bondage. Ahamkara doesn't have any freedom because it is born for certain actions. It will do those actions and it will quit the body. Again, it will take another body, again it will come. But ahamkara cannot exist without the consciousness, without the sakshi. The moment I disidentify with the ahamkara, and automatically the light of sakshi illumines in your own heart. Mamekam sharanam braja. With me as a refuge, you do all actions in life. Devote your entire life to Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. I explained last week what is Shravanam. Shravanam is listening to the scriptures. Mananam means contemplate what is the central message of the scriptures. Nididhyasana means I remove my notion that I am this body, I am this mind. So the greatest secret is dropping this ego I by not identifying with it, not going along with the ego and get caught up in the world. This happens very often with our emotions. That it is the same ego which is full of emotions. I get caught up in the emotions. I then start feeling sorrow because I get attached to the world. Beyond waker, dreamer, sleeper, I, ego I is a combination of three aspects of our personality. When I wake up, I become the waker. I means the ego becomes the waker. When the waking stops and I go to sleep first, I become a sleeper I. Then I have a dream. In the dream, the same ego becomes the dreamer. When it is a dreamer, it is not aware that it is also the waker. It is the body which is sleeping in a cot, in the bed, but it is not aware. It is ignorant. So a dreamer I is ignorant about his nature of the waker, wakerhood. Similarly, the waker, while he is in the waking state, he thinks he is the waker. He is in ignorance about Atma, I, the Sakshi I. And that Sakshi I is revealed to him by the Bhagavad Gita study. Again and again, Lord Krishna says, you drop the Prakriti and realize you are the Purusha. You are that pure consciousness. You are Nityaha. You are Sarvagataha. You are always, you are not affected by time. Body is affected by time, but you, the consciousness, awareness is not. That consciousness is Turiyam I. This Turiyam I is a term which is used in Mandukya Upanishad for Atma. Three types of surrender the Lord is talking about here in this verse. Normally, when we start the spiritual journey, we say, I belong to the Lord, because I am identified with the body. When he knows that it is the Lord who is the controller of this whole universe, then he says, Lord belongs to me. Because then he becomes insignificant. He says, the Lord is there with me. And the last surrender is the ego goes, and then this individual feels, I am one with that Lord. I am the principle from which the whole world is coming, the whole world exists, and the whole world resolves. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishtitam, mai sarvam layam yati. That Brahman, that pure awareness is the ultimate essence of the law. This verse which I quoted just now is from Kaivalya Upanishads. It is the first Upanishad of our Upanishadic study. Ma Shuchaha. Ma Shuchaha means don't grieve. In the second chapter, 11th verse, which is quoted below, Ashochananya shochasvam prajnavadan shabashase gatasuna gatasumsha gnanu shochanti panditaha. In the second chapter itself, the Lord said that wise people do not grieve for anything, neither for the living nor for the dead. Why? Because that is the nature of the world. People are born, people die. People are born, people die. Wise never grieve because they understand the nature of the world. The moment you're attached to the body, then you will start attaching with that person, then you will start missing it. But the moment you say, this is the cosmic law, I have no control over this law. And this is how the world is. You surrender your ego, I will give you moksha. That is what is the Lord's promise. With love for God, surrender is natural. We learn to live life without this ego, and then what happens? The Lord takes over this body. It is his responsibility to take over the body and go through the functions, whatever the body has to do. That is what is called as surrender to the cosmic will. The body becomes an instrument for that Lord. And it is his promise that he will free you from samsara. With this verse, the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is over. The last two verses are the final parting messages. The first one said, basically the essence of this is fix your mind upon that goal of pure consciousness all the time. That is your final goal. I want to, every day of your life, what is it? What is your goal? I am that pure consciousness. I am that awareness. That is my real state. How do I achieve this? 66th verse. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. I drop all the dharmas of the body. I surrender to the cosmic Ishvara. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushe vachyam na cha mamyopyasuyati. This is now this is called as sampradaya vidhi. Sampradaya means what is the tradition? In tradition, whenever the Gita is taught, they give us who we should not teach the Gita and who we should teach the Gita. Na apaskaya. Gita must be shared to continue the tradition. That is, I should share this knowledge. But I should not share this knowledge to whom? Those people who do not value the knowledge, who will abuse this knowledge, who will criticize this knowledge, who will question this knowledge. People without shraddha, without faith in the scriptures. Oh, what is this Gita book? You know, why are you wasting your time? That is, they will try to convert us. So here the Lord is trying to tell us that do not teach this to people who are self-indulgent. Na apaskaya. To one who is self-indulgent, he has no value for mastery over mind or the senses. They will misuse and this energy will be wasted. There's no use teaching those people because you are only wasting your time. So be selective in sharing this knowledge. Na bhaktya. One who has no love for God, don't share this knowledge. Nacha ashushva. One who has no humility, who has got a great ego feeling. I am great. No point in teaching to that person. He has no value for service. See, we are very insignificant in this world. Absolutely, there is nothing for us to feel so great about. But we all feel that, no. In many situations, in many environments, you will find that people are boasting about their ego. That is what the Lord is trying to tell us here. Nachamam abhyasuyati. One who finds fault in the Gita, he has his own agenda. This is what he says about not sharing to the wrong people. But what is the fruit of sharing? Suppose you are sharing the knowledge. Many of you have approached me. They say that they want to teach Gita also. Very good. Take up after this 18 chapter teaching, you have got some knowledge of the Gita and you start. Don't feel diffident that you don't have full knowledge of the Gita. You can start. Because nobody is perfect in the ultimate analysis or of this teaching. One grows. As you teach, you grow. Yaidam paramam gohyam madbhakte swabhavadasati bhaktim mai param kritva mame vaishyasya samshayah. Again, a promise by Lord Krishna. He says, whoever teaches this supreme secret to others, I give you the promise. What is the promise? He will doubtlessly reach me. Come to me. Now, these are all inspirational verses for all of you to start teaching Gita. Don't have questions. I have not studied. I don't understand the whole. Just start. If you are able to get 2 or 3 people, start a small group study. Study this Gita again in your own way. One who shares the secret with devotees will value the devotion, sacrifice, and sing the glory of Bhagavan. With bhakti, everything comes. Teach as seva to Bhagavan. If you are connected, you will certainly reach me. That's what Lord's promise is here. Nacha tasman manushesho kaschinme priyakritamaha bhavita nacha me tasmat anyas priyatiro bhuvi. Again, he says, the one who teaches this Gita is dearest to me. And Jnani, again and again, he says, Jnani is the one who is dearest to me. If you want to develop the love for the Lord and Lord to have develop the love for you, learn more about the Gita essence, the secrets in the Gita. You will discover the true Lord in your own bosom. 100%. There is no doubt about this. No one is dearer to one than a devotee who teaches the Gita. I value and cherish the teachers doing job of Bhagavan. They are mine, they belong to me. Bhagavan glorifies the teaching and also the teaching process. Because teaching is a process, there is a methodology to be followed. We have seen 18 chapters, very, very beautifully structured. And it makes us grow. You see, from first chapter to the 18th chapter, you would have realized that I have grown internally. I have changed my emotions. I have been able to get more clarity. You see, the mind, we don't know how to change that mind. And it is troubling us all the time. For all of us, it is not only for you. Everybody gets troubled by their own mind. That is the law. That is the cosmic law in which we are in this world. And through this method of learning the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads, we then realize how to wash our mind, purify our mind, make it more cleaner, make it more ready to receive the deeper meanings. As you keep learning these texts, what happens is the mind develops a tremendous amount of power. You won't realize it till you reach the ultimate goal. The mind has the capacity, the ability to go and into completely unknown dimensions of our own personality. And it happens by the study of these texts. The benefit of the study of Bhagavad Gita is now explained. Adde shata chai mam dharyam savadamavayoho jnana yajnena te aham ishtasyamiti me matihi. Again, it says the conviction. I give you the person who has this conviction that I will grow and I will merge with this Lord. He is the one who will prosper from this dialogue of Arjuna and Krishna. So in the Jnana Yajna spirit, Jnana Yajna means what? I study Bhagavad Gita, that is called as Jnana Yajna. See, normally we offer, in a yajna, we offer oblations outside to the Homakunda. In the study of the scriptures, we are offering our ignorance as the oblations to the fire of knowledge. And what happens? Our ignorance gets burnt. When the ignorance goes away, what happens is, I realize my true nature. Whoever studies, reads, listens, makes an effort to understand or chants. Shreyan Dharma, this verse in the 33rd verse in the 4th chapter, it says that by Jnana Yajna, this fire of knowledge, you can burn the entire ignorance. That's what it says. That is why this verse is a combination. It's just repeating what was said in the 4th chapter. So the greatest yajna is what? We have several yajnas, which we studied in the 4th chapter. And the greatest yajna is this Jnana Yajna. And why is it the greatest? Because this yajna gives me moksha. It helps me to know my real nature. Shraddhavananasuyascha shrunuyadapi yo naraha sopi mukta shubhan lokan prapnyudyat punya karmanam. The one who has faith is liberated, because ultimately it is the Shastra. The scriptures are the only means of knowledge, the source of knowledge about Atma. There is no other source. Only source. Like for this, knowing this, for experiencing the sound, you have ears. For the form, you have eyes. For the taste, you have the tongue. For the touch, you have the skin. For the smell, you have the nose. To know the spirit in you, the Atma in you, there is only Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, which reveal. They have a secret to reveal. And don't find faults. Anasuyasya. Study without finding faults in the Gita. Don't have pramana asambhavana, which is an obstacle. Pramana asambhavana means you say that Bhagavad Gita, how can it reveal my nature? Don't question the nature of the pramanam. It's like asking, how can my ears hear? How can the tongue speak? So you cannot question the pramanam. The source of Atma is the Bhagavad Gita, especially chapter 13, 14, 15, and chapter 2. There you'll find revelation after revelation, one by one, verse after verse, verse after verse, telling you this is what you are, this is what you are. Even if a person has just listened, not understood the full meaning, such a person also gains the punya. In short, everyone is benefited, the teacher is benefited, the taught is benefited, and the listeners are benefited. Who is an adhikari? One who has value for mind and the sense control. Suppose I don't value my control of the mind, then you will not be an adhikari. Adhikari means an eligible student for the Bhagavad Gita. Suppose you say, no, I will just behave as per my whatever my mind decides, I will go as per that. Swabhava versus Swadharma. Very beautiful question which was asked last week by Shama. Very important question. Who relishes this love for God and wants to cultivate it? So he is the one who is an adhikari. Those who have an attitude of service. I want to help somebody. In whatever form, it can be in any form. By money, by giving time, by listening to a problem. Now, these are the three conditions of a student. These are all pointed out so that it tells that this study of Gita is not a waste of time. It benefits the teacher. The knowledge is kept alive in his heart. You share with the feeling that it is the worship unto the Lord of the universe. And it is benefiting the person who gets this knowledge because he gets moksha. Freedoms from sorrow and attainment of happiness is the fundamental goal of every human being. Two things. Freedom from sorrow. I don't want any sorrow in life. Neither today, neither tomorrow, neither day after tomorrow. I don't want sorrow. This is the want of every seeker. I want permanent happiness. Nitya Sukham. If these are the two goals, there is no other source except the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads. Because they tell us that my nature itself is being free. Freedom is my nature. I'm wrongly identifying, I correct that wrong understanding, remove my ignorance, and I'm free. That is what is the teaching. Therefore, jnanam, knowledge is the most important thing, not karma. Action is not going to give me, is not going to help me remove the ignorance, the spiritual ignorance. Action is good to gain something in the world, but knowledge is the most important. The more I gain this knowledge, that is why after the Bhagavad Gita study, we generally take the study of Upanishads. I want to ask you something seriously. Bhagavan now tells Arjuna. What is it? Kaschid det shutam partha tvayaicakrena chetasa kaschid jnana sammohaha pranashtaste dhananjaya. Lord Krishna is asking this question to Arjuna. Have you heard this, oh Partha? Have you heard this whole Gita with one single pointed mind? Because Lord is still not sure. He has finished the teaching. He has finished telling Arjuna the benefits of the study also. And he is asking Arjuna now, Partha, oh Arjuna, have you understood what I wanted to say? Has the distraction gone? Has your ignorance gone dispelled? Have you heard with single pointed mind? So the questions here are, have you listened? Have you understood? Has the ignorance gone? Has your delusion gone? And lastly, has your sorrow gone? Because you came to me, karpanya dosha pahata swabhavaha prichhami tvam dharma sammuda chetasa yaksheyanishitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. The second chapter, you came to me as a sishya. Sishya means student. You came to me as a student to remove sorrow. Have you listened to this teaching? Ajnanam goes only when the student is one-pointed, focused, concentrated. And it is the student only, it is you only who can say, yes, I have got some benefit of learning this Gita. You cannot explain the benefit because it's internal. It is purifying your mind. It is reducing your sorrow. It is clarity in your mind. The rajas aspect of your mind has come down, calmed down. You are more sattvic, more quiet, more alert, more vigilant. Long ago, Arjuna had surrendered to Lord Krishna as a student. A guru's responsibility is to remove this ignorance. When a student comes to the guru and says, I have got sorrow, I want to get rid of sorrow, I want to get happiness, the guru's medicine kit has got only one pill. That pill is Bhagavad Gita. It is the Gita pill which cures the ignorance in the intellect. To remove the delusion of the egocentric living, I am doing this, I am doing this. It's not the Lord who is doing through this body. Transform the student to Atma-centric lifestyle through the study of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, Karpanya dosha in the battlefield, he had Karpanya dosha, which means he had a compassion, misled compassion. Compassion outside the battlefield is correct. You feel sorrow for somebody, pity for somebody, it's okay. But in the battlefield, you're there for dharma, for winning a war, because you believe in certain things and the other person is doing injustice. And that battlefield, you cannot have Karpanya dosha. So Arjuna had this problem. We all suffer from the same problem because we are going through the battle of life. Life is a battlefield, real battlefield for each one of us. Every day, morning to evening is a battlefield. Our mind is running. That is why sometimes they say that the Gita study is all internal study. It is the study of the battle between the ego and the Sakshi. The Sakshi I and the ego I are in constant battle and running into the world. Sakshi is saying, don't go, don't go. Ego I is saying, Ahankara I is saying, I am running into the world. That is Adhyatmika analysis of the Bhagavad Gita. Teaching is for removing the delusion. See, we are deluded. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do this? Every day, for every small thing, we are deluded. Delusion comes out of self-ignorance. Very fondly, Partha Dhananjaya, Lord is asking this question as Partha. Partha means very fondly is asking. O Saumya, O pleasant one. Did you understand? Because why? If you don't understand, then what Arjuna now thinks, if I say to the Lord, no, I have not understood, then he will have to go through the whole 18 chapters. Because he knows how Lord Krishna is. If you ask a question, he will write a chapter for him. Arjuna uvacha nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadhanyamashchuta Stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna is feeling very confident. He says, Lord Krishna, I have absolute clarity now. My delusion is gone. There is no more confusion in my mind. I am ready to fight. Because I have comprehended the nature of the self, I am Atma. That is the knowledge which I have. Only if the sorrow goes, you have clarity of what dharma is, what is to be done. You will have no problem at any point of time with the clarity in your mind. It is a deluded mind which goes into us confusion. A clear mind knows this is the decision every minute. Yes, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. Every minute, every day. For ignorance of self, the knowledge of the self is the solution, which is given by the Bhagavad Gita. Student feels that with Guru's blessing, he has understood. He will never fall again into samsara. If ego is not left, in the case of self-knowledge, then knowledge has not happened. If you're sticking again with the ego, again you pamper your ego, you boast. That ego is not gone. If humility has not come, that means that ego is very strong. It cannot learn. A learning ego is one which has dropped certain qualities in it. Arjuna had sat down in the first chapter. Eva muktva original. See, in the first chapter, Arjuna had given up the bow and arrow at the end, the 47th verse. He said that my mind is distressed with sorrow. I can't fight. Arjuna now in this verse says, I'm standing up again. My doubt has gone. I'm going to fight. I will do as you say, as you wish. Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, was very happy with Arjuna. He hugged Arjuna, and the Lord felt my duty as a guru is over. Now he says to Arjuna, I will be your Sarathi, Partha Sarathi. A great student, a wonderful student, and a great teacher. That dialogue ends. What a master, what a student. Vedavyasa completes the story. In the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra vacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. This is what Dhritarashtra had asked Sanjaya. Now, Lord Krishna has gone, Arjuna have gone. Dhritarashtra in Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, he wanted to know where his sons were and where are the sons of Pandu. That means he wanted to know what is happening in the battlefield. Vedavyasa had given Divya Drishti to Sanjaya. That means he had a vision sitting in another distant place. He could find out what is going on in another place. Staying where he is, he will be able to see and know and report to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra, like a reporter. Dhritarashtra was clouded and deluded by his own selfishness and was deluded. He could not see properly because he was blind. Hence, Vedavyasa gave vision to Sanjaya. In the 74th verse onwards, 74 to 78 is a conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita narration by the commentator, Sanjaya. Sanjayo vacha ityaham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmanaha sambadi vimam shosham adbhutam maharshanam. I have heard this wonderful dialogue, this wonderful samvada, the dialogue. It was a beautiful discussion between Arjuna and Krishna. Partha is a Mahatma. Why? Because he is known, he now realizes his Atma. Anybody can be a Mahatma if he knows his real nature, because the Atma inside is Mahan. Teaching is splendorous, beyond imaginations. My hairs are standing up again because he's reflecting on the wonderful teaching. Sanjay is again thinking of the chapter 11 and the chapter 10 where Lord Krishna gave the vibhuti and showed his form to Arjuna. Therefore, his hair was rising. Vyasa pradachrutam vane etadya maham param yogam yogeshwarat Krishna sakshat katayata swayam. Lord Krishna gave this teaching directly to Arjuna, and Sanjaya says he has a great gratitude for this teaching because he also listened directly from the Lord. So here in this verse, he says, I am grateful to Vyasa, who is the author of Bhagavad Gita, who gave me this vision of this Brahma Jnana, Atma Sakshatkara. This directly I have come to know. This is Sanjaya saying that he also feels very blessed. Rajan samsritya samvadimimam adbhutam Keshava Arjunayo punyam rishyami cha muhurmuhu. I keep on recalling, remembering, and enjoying the teaching. So many wonderful thoughts I had while listening to the Bhagavad Gita. I keep recalling what you have said, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga. I'm delighted. I cherish this knowledge in my heart. This is Sanjaya trying to say, I am remembering, because the memory is so powerful. Sanjaya still has the whole teaching before. All the 18 chapters is there right in front of him. Purusha, Prakriti, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, cosmic vision, Vibhuti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, meditation, all that it is there right in front of him. So he's remembering. So that when the teaching is strong, what happens is you remember it again and again. One verse sometimes keeps rolling in my mind. Sarva dharman parityajya. Again and again it keeps on ringing. What did the Lord want to say in that verse? Sarva dharman parityajya. That means it is a teaching for me. I have to do something in my own mind, not to worry and get caught up in the world. Surrender that and then be free. Tacha sampritya sasmrutya rupamatya bodham hare vismayo me mahan rajan nashyami cha punah punaha. Again the same, Sanjay recalls the Vishwarupa Darshan. And what is the verse of the 11th chapter which Sanjay remembers? The splendor of 1,000 suns. If you recall, we have taken this chapter. In this important verse is quoted again and again by many people who teach Bhagavad Gita. In the 11th chapter, he said that as if Arjuna was seeing as if that 1,000 suns were rising at one time. When we see this one sun, what joy we get in the morning. Sun has risen. What a joy he would have felt. That is what is the splendor of this knowledge. Bright and effulgent is the shine of Atma. Because Atma is the presence in which the sun rises. Atma is the presence in which the sun sets. Atma is the presence in which the sun exists for all of us. It is in the light of Atma that we experience the sun. This verse also is famous, where the Lord Krishna said that in this one body, the whole universe can be seen. The whole universe. Arjuna wanted to know, is it possible? So Sanjay is now remembering that verse in which the whole universe was seen by Arjuna in Lord Krishna's body. The whole Vishwarupa Darshanam is what is being remembered by Sanjay. One consciousness awareness in which the entire universe rests. Adbhutam, wonder. I can't even describe this. My mind is thoughtless in astonishment. I'm enjoying and reveling again and again, remembering again and again. Samsritya, samsritya. That is what Sanjay is saying to Dhritarashtra. I have horripilations. My hair is rising because the teaching is so powerful. There is some light in which this whole universe is rising every day. That light is there. That is the real light, the spiritual light. I have known the spiritual light not outside anywhere, but in my own heart. My intellect is free from all delusions and confusions. That is the real nature of every jiva. In our delusion, we think we are this body and mind, drop this identification and feel the same blessing of the study of the Gita. Yatra yogeshwara Krishnaha, yatra partho dhanurdhanaha, tatra sri vijayo bhuti, dhruvaniti matirmama. This is the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Where spiritual vision is there and your practical effort is there, you will be in alignment with that wisdom. The spiritual vision plus the effort brings prosperity in every field. So two things I should have. I should have a right vision about the world. And I should put my best effort. Both are important. In order to have a good life, a successful life, two things are important. A correct understanding of what the world is and a proper self-effort. And having this spiritual vision in all parts of my life, not only in, when you come to the class, I will think about this, but in every form, again and again, let the teaching be there. I am the pure awareness. In this awareness, I'm acting. The body is acting, the mind is acting, it is acting with the world. I'm doing my duty. I know my nature. This feeling, if you are able to get, that is the success of Bhagavad Gita. That means I have attained moksha. What is moksha? Not wearing orange robes, but it is mental sannyasa. I have stopped identifying with my mind. Whenever I have to do duty, I will be doing duty and I will use the mind and the body as an instrument. I do not become the instrument. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita So Upanishadso Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Moksha Sannyasa Yogo Nama Shodashodhyayaha. This is the concluding verse which is there, which says that this dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna brings out the essence of the Upanishads, and it is titled The Yoga of Liberation Through Renunciation. And it is the essence. And what is the essence? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Whenever we conclude a text, he also chant the first verse so that we say that this teaching is not over. I will go through this teaching again and again. That's why we'll chant the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra vacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamakah pandavaschaiva kimakuruvata sanjaya. Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachare Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So with the blessing of the Lord Krishna, we have finished the entire Bhagavad Gita today. And with this, the teaching is over. It has taken almost 67 sessions. I have taken 67 sessions in the Bhagavad Gita. I didn't know that I will take so many sessions, which has started last year, before year in 2020. Like I said, that Shanmugam has sent the circular about the Upanishad program. If you are interested, you can fill the details to just join the Upanishad, which will begin on the 29th of January. Next week, today is the 15th, on the 22nd of January, I will give you a summary of the whole 18 chapters, which we have done in the beginning also, but I'll just try to revise that so that you can run through this entire Gita one more time. This is just for you to have a quick roundup. Some of you have joined late during the year. Some of you came from the beginning, but this will help you a short summary. Next week, if you want to say something about your own experience of learning the Bhagavad Gita, you can talk. I will give you, you can speak at the end of the revision. If you want to say a few words, you can say that at the end of next session. And Upanishadic study is a higher form of study. And for the Saturday group, I started with Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha. I did Drigdishya Viveka, then Bhagavad Gita. The natural growth of the human mind after all this is the Upanishad. After the Upanishad is Brahma Sutra, the first 4 sutras, which are important sutras, which I will be taking up if there is interest. So today, if you have any other questions, you may ask. You can ask now. Please, my request is to start Mahavakya Vichara. Oh, Mahavakya Vichara. Wow, indeed appreciate and blessed to learn from you. Okay. Mahavakya Vichara is basically, I will be doing for the Wednesday class. It is a part of Panchadasi, and chapter 5 of Panchadasi is Mahavakya Vichara. So for the Wednesday class, I will be doing that. And all the 4 Mahavakyas are taken up in the 5th chapter of Panchadasi. That will bring a lot of clarity also, because ultimately Mahavakya is the one which is the liberating sentence of the Upanishads. So Malati, you'll have to just wait a little bit, but we will do it. I have already got the notes ready. If you're interested, I can pass it on to you. You can read the notes. I can send it to you. If you're very keen, I can send you the notes. My notes of the classes are all ready for the 5th chapter of Panchadasi.
I will wait for your class.
Okay, you can wait. You can wait for my classes. Okay. Is there anybody else who has got any other questions? So you can unmute yourself and ask if you have anything.
Mr. Shekhar.
Yeah, Jacqueline.
This is Jacqueline. I came in late. I just want to express the appreciation and gratitude to you personally, because I learn a lot for each and every hours that you have put forward. I may not be comprehending everything, but there is a value, and I learn, appreciate, really.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Jacqueline has been one of the members of this Saturday group, and she has been attending almost all the talks right from the beginning of Tattva Bodha till date. So one student who has attended almost everything, Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Drigdishya Viveka, all she has attended. I would say she is one of the most benefited student of this study. And I can see tremendous changes in her. Tremendous changes. I mean, what she was, she said, I want to know who I am. So, and today she's a graduate of the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, so nice.
No, I still have a lot of learning, pieces and here that is inside my mind to be more. There's more to learn. Yeah, that's what I want to say. I really want to say appreciate. There's no words that I can say, and really blessed to be in here that you started it and 2 or 3 years ago. Really,
Yeah.
really.
Yes, she was the motivating factor for this Saturday class, Jacqueline.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, all right. Yeah, anybody else has any other question?
Hari Om, Shekharji.
Yeah, Hari Om, Bhatt.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Shekharji, for all that. I think you did this whole session or the whole series without a break, I think.
Yeah, without any break, yes.
That is the most appreciated part. I think is the God's blessing. And we were also blessed to attend it day after day or week after week without missing. Even if we missed it, we always had to go back to that video available immediately and listen to that. So very much thankful for that. Just one point I wanted to ask you. Now, at the end of it, Sanjaya said that I listened to that whole thing and I benefited out of it. A question to me was that Dhritarashtra, to whom he was presenting this whole thing, right?
Yes.
Is there something surprising that he did not get the benefit and looks like he can continue to be blind forever, or what happened? What was that?
As far as Dhritarashtra was concerned, he could not drop his ego. That was the problem. He still had love for his children, and he felt that whatever his children were doing, he was blind to their activities, and he felt that whatever was right, they were right, and Pandavas were wrong, in spite of the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. He remained ignorant, but that shows that if your ego is very strong, it is extremely difficult for you to get this knowledge. So don't be blind like Dhritarashtra. Have the eye of knowledge like Sanjaya. Our idol should be Arjuna and Sanjaya, who got this knowledge and he said they are free. So that is where our learning is. Get this knowledge, let it sink deep into our own mind, and let my own mind tell me I am free. That is the success of spiritual study. It is my own mind, not anybody else. I should tell myself I am free. I know the truth about my own nature. I am not a part of this body. I am ever free, because this whole world which I see, which I experience, is mithya. It is experienced, but it is not reality. I am the truth in which the whole world is rising, existing, going back. The whole world is rising, existing, going back. This specific one principle, keep it in mind. Till you're able to get convinced that I am that awareness principle, that consciousness principle, keep the body and mind as an instrument. Till that, you see, you have to develop that new vision. A transformation should come in your mind. Yes, I'm going through the experience of life, but I am not this body. This body I can see in the waking state. In sleep state, it is not there. But I am there. Who is that I which is there in the sleep state, and it is not experiencing the body, neither it is experiencing the mind? What is that? It is existent. That is what is the ultimate truth of my nature. This whole experiences is only a show. It is coming and going. It's like exactly like a dream which I see every night. I see some dream. The whole life's experiences, you take it as if it is one long dream. That's all. And get attached to that one principle, pure consciousness. That is what we are going to zoom in our study of the Upanishads. That is where our Saturday classes will be purely, every Upanishad you will say, oh, I am this Atma, I am this Atma, I am this Atma. Again and again, your mind will rush towards this Atma. It gets more clarity. Again, it will rush. Oh, this is the Atma. This is it. How come I missed it? Bhagavad Gita, it is telling us the truth of this world. There is one truth behind this body and the world, and that truth is Atma. And knowing that truth, I will be liberated. That is the whole teaching of the Upanishads. So to answer your question, Dhritarashtra didn't have this knowledge. He was blind to this knowledge. He remained blind.
Thank you. I think, yeah. And one more question, and then after that, one more point.
Yeah.
The second question is, I think if I'm not wrong, so this, after listening to this whole thing, Arjuna stood up to fight the war, right?
Yes.
But that means he got the clarity, he was ready to do his duty.
Yes.
But isn't that the Uddhav Gita is which comes in the Mahabharata after this, right?
Yes.
And again, that is also by the same Krishna to Arjuna itself, correct?
No, it is to Uddhava.
So it is not to Arjuna.
No, not to Arjuna.
Okay. Okay. And then the point is, I think the last verse, at the end of the last verse, or otherwise the last concluding chant we have, right? I think in the slide it was mentioned as 17th chapter.
Yeah, maybe I was wrong. There was probably a mistake. You can, I will correct it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, Shama?
Hari Om, Shekharji. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. Shouldn't the moksha sannyasa yoga, the 18th chapter, should it not effectively be called Sharanagati yoga, if there is a word like that?
Yeah.
Because the ultimate at the end of it, the Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam. So unless we accept that this is really the key to the whole of the Bhagavad Gita, that at the end, how the spiritual aspirant really, that is the final entry point or the culmination of all our spiritual practice, which is to actually have this mind which is in a Sharanagati state.
Lord Krishna wants us not to remain as a seeker in life till the end of our life.
Yes.
So when you say, I want to surrender Sarva Dharman Paritijya, I surrender to you, that means you are still remembering that you are surrendering and you are not still left that ego that I am surrendering.
But here Sri Krishna is asking Arjuna.
Yes, he's asking.
He's asking, he's commanding.
The goal of Sharanagati is, the ultimate goal of Sharanagati is, the benefit is to be free from the ego. So that is why he said moksha sannyasa. It is that he is giving us the goal of Sharanagati.
Okay, yeah.
He doesn't want you to remain as a Sharanagati seeker. As a surrendered ego, he doesn't want you to remain. He wants you to reach and merge with me. When you merge with me, you have already become one with me. Moksha. You have attained moksha.
Okay.
So his emphasis was on moksha, therefore it is called moksha sannyasa yoga.
And is this the final thing, regardless of what we put in self-effort, isn't this the final thing is actually divine grace?
Yes, it is. Ultimately, without grace, we cannot get this knowledge. Divine grace is uniform in all of us in the form of the Shakti we have in us. Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. When you look at yourself, ask your question, what is this Shakti? I'm speaking. How is this words coming from where is it coming? What is that Shakti in me? That Shakti is the grace of the Lord.
Okay.
This body is inert body. In this body, there is something which is speaking. That Shakti, that power is Lord's sentiency. That is the consciousness. So be aware of this consciousness, then you will be aware that there is some power in this body. All of us, not only you, whether it is Malati, Ramkumar, me, Amiachu, anybody. We have power in this body to speak, to act. My legs can walk. Isn't there a creator for this? Isn't there an ultimate power? That power is the consciousness. That power, in religious terms, we call it God. And in the Upanishadic language, we call it Brahman. But ultimately, we're talking of the same essence.
Yeah.
And realizing this power, this Shakti in us, that itself gives me a lot of fulfillment in life. Remember the Shakti in us. Remember that there is a power which is making this body function. see, this body is such a, in Panchadasi, the more you understand the body and the mind and the sense organs and how they function, you will be flabbergasted with the intelligence which goes on behind this body. I mean, you're a doctor, you know what all happens in this body. So that is there. That intelligence is a power which will govern us, and it will take us out of this body and be one with that power.
Especially in the layers of the mind, this very, very large part of the subconscious mind is just phenomenal. Somebody wrote a book called The Ant and the Elephant, where the size of the conscious mind is meant to be the ant, and it is supposed to be riding over the unconscious, which is the size of the elephant. And it actually says, imagine what little power does the conscious mind have over this unconscious, which now in Vedanta language, you understand that it is just janmas and janmas of our samskaras, Therefore, the difficulty, I mean, I realize it and take it with some degree of comfort and consolation that the reason why it is so hard that, as there are so many shlokas which say, even for the wisest of wise people, why is it so difficult to actually do willfully what we know to be the right? Because our samskaras through the prarabdha karmas, they are doing completely something else, which is completely opposed to the conscious mind, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
But is the proportion and the layers?
Yes, you're right. That is why in the BMI chart you have V at the top.
Yes.
V is the vasanas. That is the one which is controlling the entire apparatus.
Yeah.
And above that V is Om.
Correct.
And we are that Om. So we have to drop the vasanas and rise above the mind and reach that Om as our true nature.
Yeah.
Let the thoughts keep rumbling, about this higher nature all the time. Let the mind keep thinking. That is what is contemplation. The more you contemplate, the more your doubts will go away, and the more your mind will accept the teaching.
Yeah.
I remember you coming a long ago into this class, in these sessions with so many doubts.
Absolutely.
And today you are so composed. I can see a tremendous difference in you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, more restful in my mind.
More restful. How did this happen? It is this teaching. A proper clarity of the teaching will help everybody to grow in this Bhagavad Gita.
And every little verse and every little this thing, like as to how, despite Arjuna making all sorts of funny, odd questions to Lord Krishna, like a great teacher and a very compassionate teacher at that, he is never getting upset with Arjuna, does he? He doesn't get upset and say, get lost, go away. I would expect actually that.
He was ready to. He was ready to sing the song again. If Arjuna had said, "I am not free," he would have sung the song again.
I know, and I was thinking, how absolutely so patient.
Very
He's
patient.
clearing out one doubt, and then he comes up with another one. But tell me this, but tell me that, and more like a mother actually. He's never impatient, and he says, "Okay, fine," But it's a very big consolation, because I was thinking, well, there might be some hope for me, because if the Lord can be so patient with Arjuna, he might as well be patient with me too, and my vagaries of my mind. It's an inspiration. So that's the learning from Bhagavad Gita, that it's an inspiration. Yeah, never be in despair.
Yeah.
And you've gone on again with a lot of patience and very systematically, and a lot of patience. You have a lot of patience, I must say. Had to allow also some mad questions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Shama. Yeah, Malati.
I think every teacher wants a student like Arjuna. by asking the questions only, every gem of the knowledge will come out.
Yes, definitely. I love the questions.
Malati
Yes.
is very bold. Malati is very bold. She thinks the teacher wants children.
Shekhar-ji,
Yeah, tell me.
if you want to meditate, if you want to do a nididhyasana on any other shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita, which are the shlokas you choose?
Basically for Nididhyasanam, the shlokas of chapter 2 from 12 to
Yes.
30, they are the best.
Najayate na mriyate.
Yeah, Dajayate Mriyate, the entire verses from 12 to 30, they are the best for meditation. For people who want to know and meditate on the Atma. So you try to go through the 4 lines meanings. You take one verse and you sit down and contemplate on that verse. Don't bring other verses on that day. You go through the meaning, 4 lines, again go through the same meaning, again go deeper and deeper on that verse only for one time of contemplation. Again, next day, you read the verse and say, the next 10 minutes, I'm going to contemplate. Don't need to do more than 10 minutes. Just let the thoughts of that verse contemplate. So the best verses of the Bhagavad Gita are those verses. Of course, there are many verses. Next week, when I take the revision, you will have some more verses. But I'm thinking I will choose only one verse for every chapter, and talk about it, and tell you a background of the each chapter, whatever way I can. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so
Nice to meet you. I'm very happy.
Thank you. Very good. Anybody else?
Will you tell next week as to what will be the format for your Upanishad, which ones, in what order would you be taking, or?
See, my preference right now is to start with the Kaivalya Upanishad.
Okay.
And because that is a short Upanishad, and then it will be all the other Upanishads, and like Keno Upanishad, Katho Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. I will keep the big Upanishads towards the end, like Chandogya Upanishad and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I will keep towards the end.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Yeah. That'll be great.
And I will not be taking verse by verse of all these Upanishads. I will give you a summary. Again and again, I'll be just taking a few aspects of the Upanishads. I have done this course before for the Wednesday class. So it's a course which I've already taken for the Wednesday class, but now I'm going to do for the Saturday class.
Okay.
Because there are so many other new faces now. None of you, most of you have not heard the Upanishad. So we'll go through the Upanishads. We'll keep the Mandukya and the Brihadaranyaka and the Chandogya towards the end. I will also cover the Amrit Brindu Upanishad. So about 12 Upanishads I have a plan to take. Now, this is going to be a long study. So only if you are committed to attending every week and you want to learn, continue the learning, then you will be benefited. So it's a commitment for almost 2 years. So let's see how it goes. And that is my plan. Overall, because it will take roughly 2 years to complete this. After this, I will be doing Brahma Sutra. I will take the first 4 sutras of the Brahma Sutra. That will make the entire Prasthana Trayam complete for this group.
Wonderful.
Okay, in the meantime, for the Wednesday class, it's going to be a 2-year session on Panchadasi.
Perfect.
Panchadasi is a beautiful text, and there you will go more deeper and deeper. So it's a very good combination of Upanishads and Panchadasi together.
Great.
So hopefully if things go well, we'll just continue with these two, with this program for at least this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kandanji, happy Pongal.
Oh, thank you. Everybody, happy Pongal.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
So I'm just asking you, Vitekara,
Yeah, Chandra, tell me.
the jiva who has ahankara, but when he has realized, where does the ego goes?
Ego goes off to the Karana Shariram. It merges with the Sukshma Shariram. You see that it merges. So ego is a part of the Sukshma Shariram.
Okay.
Okay, and this Sukshma mind actually is a part of the Hiranyagarbha principle. You know, Hiranyagarbha is a total mind.
Total mind, yeah.
Yeah, so our mind merges with the total mind. So what happens is so our mind merges with the total mind is the direct answer to your question. What happens to the mind? Okay, so then what that is what this Shastra tells us.
Okay.
The scriptures tell us that we realize that we are that pure consciousness.
Right.
We are not at all bothered with the mind at all. It is like a unfanged cobra.
Oh,
Yeah, you see, if you remove the fang of the cobra is no more poisonous.
that is the ego.
Ego is the fang of the cobra.
Oh, I see. So
So ego will behave with you just to do your duty. That's all.
oh, I see.
So you will continue being a jiva in this life, and it will just act like an instrument for you. That's all. Whatever actions you have to undertake with your body, it will just help you to undertake those actions, and those actions will generally be actions towards the duty towards the family. Because of others' prarabdha, your body continues.
Okay.
So that is how we say a Jivan Mukti is. That is how a person lives after knowledge.
After knowledge, huh?
Yes. The ego becomes completely like a roasted seed.
Ah.
You see, the seed, it can never grow again, it can never take a birth again.
Yeah, right.
Because the power of that seed to germinate has gone.
Oh, correct.
Okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you and good night, everybody.
Thank you, Shaker.
Thank you. Hari Om. Thank you.
Good.